I became the first member of parliament in South Africa's history to introduce a motion on the Holocaust. And I think it's because of this history, as the son of a Holocaust survivor, that I take issues of anti-Semitism and any form of racism so incredibly seriously. And it's because of this lifelong commitment that I find the recent use, or what I would describe as abuse, of anti-Semitism to fight narrow, factional political battles, both in the United States of America and in the United Kingdom, so difficult to see. It came to a head when Jeremy Corbyn was described by some members of his own party and outsiders, including the Jewish Board of Deputies, as anti-Semitic. Jeremy is one of the most anti-racist people I have ever met in my life.
It's a time to declare our solidarity with all sections of the community who are under attack or under oppression. Jewish people that arrived in Britain from Russia at the end of the 19th century, the way they were characterized by the popular press, the way that then became physical attacks upon them, that then became a whole tide of anti-Jewish behavior which enabled the Nazis to rise.
He is loved by many members of the Orthodox Jewish community and by many Jews who live inside and outside his constituency. And to suggest that the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn was particularly anti-Semitic was simply incorrect. One of the few surveys of anti-Semitism conducted by the YouGov polling company, that survey showed that in 2015, when the Labour Party had a Jewish leader in Ed Miliband, Labour voters had the second least anti-Semitism of all British political parties. In 2017, when a similar survey was done by the same organisation, it found that the Labour Party, now under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, had the joint least anti-Semitic attitudes amongst its voters. The Conservative Party, unsurprisingly UKIP, exhibited far greater anti-Semitism. Despite an 830-page report leaked to the media providing overwhelming documentary evidence that senior staff of the Labour Party who were opposed to Jeremy Corbyn's leadership delayed acting on complaints of anti-Semitism in the Labour Party, the media in this country, the United Kingdom, barely gave the report a mention. The fact that something as serious as anti-Semitism is being used to fight narrow, factional political battles is reprehensible, because what it does is it undermines and corrodes the very real struggle against actual anti-Semitism and racism, which is an incredibly important struggle in today's world. What is at the center of these accusations against left-wing politicians like Jeremy Corbyn, Bernie Sanders and others is the conflating of anti-Semitism with any criticism of Israel. Now, of course, some types of criticism of Israel can be anti-Semitic if the actions of Israel are perceived of the actions of all Jews, for instance. But to claim that criticism of Israel is in and of itself anti-Semitic serves only to bolster the most right-wing Israeli government in history that continues to commit massive human rights abuses in the illegally occupied Palestinian territories. In redefining anti-Semitism as anything that can be construed of criticism of the state of Israel, the notion of anti-Semitism loses all meaning. This manifests, for instance, in the fact that Viktor Orbán, the Prime Minister of Hungary, who has explicitly used anti-Semitism in his election campaigns to win and retain power, is invited to Israel to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu and other senior politicians. The reality that Israel's greatest friend is Donald Trump, a president who has used actual Nazi symbols in the form of red triangles in his re-election campaign to label left-wing people, bearing in mind that many communists, socialists and others of the left were murdered by Hitler's Nazi regime. It is these instances that reflect that the abuse of anti-Semitism and the way it is being abused in our politics currently is so dangerous.
Jews will not very fine people on both sides.
He will kill you. That's the Proud Boys in a nutshell.
Stand back and stand by.
The role of the media in relation to these claims of anti-Semitism has been frankly appalling. And what lies behind it, and this is crucially important, is that the figures against whom anti-Semitism is used, be it Jeremy Corbyn, Bernie Sanders, all have one thing in common. They are anti-establishment figures who believe that the concentration of wealth and the inequality that results in British and American society has to be overcome by fundamental political change and structural changes to our economies.